Hi garden rebels! Have you begun to notice in this prime month of January an imperceptibly small change in our day? Yes, I've noticed it. In the morning time, it's getting earlier, just a tad bit sooner. And then at nighttime, at the end of the day at 5 o'clock, it seems like the sun is just hanging around. I couldn't say the sun, but the daylight, because sometimes we can't even see the sun, but the daylight just to seem to hang out a little bit longer, just like to see what happens at the end of this day. And it's given me deep inside that feeling of spring is coming. I want to hold off on those feelings, believe it or not, as much as I love those, and talk about some gardening on the inside. Let's get started. So our mission here today is to show you 5, 6, 7 houseplants not to miss in the month of January. First up is this guy. If you are a fern lover, take a look at this. Now what this reminds me is houseplants in general. By the way, if there's newbie houseplant people and super expertise, super collectors of houseplants, I would be on the newbie side, believe it or not. Our house isn't suitable for any kind of plants. It's just low light. But that's what houseplants are all about. It's really taking an extreme condition, under a roof, barely light through a window, sometimes with no light at all except for a light from a light bulb. These houseplants are taken from the wild, from the horticulture literal jungle, understories, and have a broad range of ability to survive in all kinds of conditions. And so oftentimes even the plants that we have in the house look very, very different after some time than what we would find in the wild. The leaves might be a lot smaller, things might be stretchier, but yet we are absolutely happy because we're surrounding ourselves inside our comfortable house with plants. And plants, of course, give us that, something about a down-to-earth, grounded feeling. So no matter how rough it gets, we still have our bearings of what reality is all about. But anyway, take a look at this plant. Look how cool it is. If you are a fern lover, this is definitely one of those plants to get. This plant here is a Flabosia. A Flabosia? It is a accidental cross, by the way, between a Phlebodium, which is a rabbit's foot fern, and a Pyrosia. And these two accidentally cross is what they say as our horticultural not fable, but our horticulture history suggests we got this cross. By the way, this was named by Nicholas Ruiten. He was the chairman of the Greenhouse Horticultural Society in the Netherlands, stepping down. He christened this. It was Nicholas, that's his first name, and Diamond because he wanted to have this one known internationally. So a neat addition. Oh, by the way, here's a little bit of that houseplant ferny, or that rabbit's tail fern start right there. I always think those are super, super cool. So speaking of tropicals, I gotta show you this. Take a look at this guy right here. Now, if you don't recognize, this is a Stromanthe. It's Stromanthe sanguinea. Look at those dark pink tones to that, and it has that bright white with that pink tinge to it, and then the green variegations. It's just a really neat, amazing plant. If you have this, put it in a larger container, because it's just a nice, especially in a corner, a dark corner where you need something just to stand out and be a little more dramatic. So it's kind of a low growing. It definitely loves the shade. And by the way, I use this one for our shade hanging baskets and shade containers during the summer months. So then bring it inside during the winter months and enjoy it. Man, it's a generally big, well, we have it as a generally bigger plant here, but I just love it. It cheers me up when I see that pink to red. It just says, wow, what an amazing plant. And can you imagine? Now this is down in the jungles of the Americas, and if you just imagine you were walking through the jungle and came upon this plant, you just stop. Gosh, this is just an amazing addition to a houseplant collection. This is in the family of Peperomias. This is polybotrya, and this is called a raindrop peperomia. So it has that, I want to say, raindrop shape, but also that heart-shaped leaf on there. Just nice and glossy green. It makes for a nice mix, which keep that in mind as well. And for toughness, as far as a peperomia, this is one that's hard to beat. So we're in that Peperomia family. I thought I'd show you one of my favorites. This is called a Schumi Red Peperomia. Peperomias, by the way, always have these types of blooms, these long stalks of blooms that kind of make it interesting. I end up trimming those off pretty quickly, only because I like things to be nice and compact. But take a look at these leaves. It's almost like a succulent type of leaf. And the neat thing about this one that I like, the Schumi Red, is just because of that red coloring. And if you like a challenge, this one is a fun one, because not that it would live or die, but what color does it stay in your house? And it likes a little bit of indirect light. So if you get it too dark, it starts to change color to much more of a green. But give it enough light and it's got this dark burgundy, almost from dark to bright burgundy, I want to say. But a fun one too for a mixed container or by itself. And then you can see also too that in the light it's almost gives you a kind of a shimmer or a change of color. But Peperomia Schumi Red, keep it on your list. It's hard to stop. Take a look at this one. This is a Pilea rotundifolia. So, by the way, on houseplants, the botanical naming is very, very sloppy. So we try to really research our plants and get it down, because our botanical name is really the key to knowing exactly the plant. So this one though, definitely right on. Pilea rotundifolia. That is that rotunda, that round leaf on this, what they call a button fern. So it's kind of fun. It's a great one too if you don't have the confidence on your houseplants. It's a great one to begin with. And the reason why I say that is because to begin with, it gets your watering down. So a nice good watering once a week, let it dry out. Once a week, let it dry out. And if you're starting houseplants, by the way, I like to keep it in a container that has good drainage versus planting it in a container with no holes and then guessing. So by knowing this, so we can put it underneath the sink, give it a good thorough washing, and then let it drain out. So when it stops dripping, then you can put it back in your container. But the nice thing about this one too is that it's a workhorse. So you put it on the edge of your container. You can put it in a container by itself as well, like most folks do. But what it does is it begins to trail. And so after some time, you really become proud of your button fern because it's nice and full and trailing nice. And it has that little wispiness to it. And it has almost that shiny, glossy look to it as well. So definitely add this to your list. It can give you a lot of joy during the dark times of winter. I'm sneaking this one in because take a look at the foliage on this guy. Strange looking fern, right? This is a Doryopteris cordata, and I appreciate it. Now, most folks, when they see this, they're thinking, the basal leaves of this guy is the secondary look. But take a look at how amazing this is. I just love that flatness to it. It's almost like a ground cover, but this is like the grand preview to the show. What really is called in general terms, in common terms, is an antenna fern. And the reason why it's called that is because this will send out stalks of fern antennae. So it'll sit out there and it really looks more like fern foliage on this rather than this. So it is definitely getting two completely different plants in one. These beautiful basil leaves, and then it comes out with these stalks of very fern-like foliage. So it's a fun one. And if you have a very humid area, if you tend to overdo things like watering, then this might be a plant for you. And remember I told you that houseplants tend to be coming from the tropical parts of the world. This is definitely one of those that love that humidity, so they love small enclosures. If you have a cold, what is it? Not dusty, but cold, not musty, but cold, where lots of airflow through. This one might not be it. Drafty. If you have a cold, drafty house, but if you have a nice, warm, humid area, this can give you hours of entertainment. It's a great also conversation piece plant for you shy folks out there too, who just see this and then when someone notices, it's just like, wow, where? Tell me more about this plant. And you can all go out about this Doryopteris cordata and let him have it. For you true plant collectors, I know I'm pushing my time on this, but if you like the unusual and you like the different, take a look at this. This is an Alocasia. This is called Bambino. All the Alocasias, and the Colocasias, the elephant ear type plants, I really enjoy. Now, do I use them as house plants? Not that often. I like them in the summer months in the shady. I love that heat, but it's just hard to resist. If you have a party coming up, if you like the little unusualness, this Alocasia just stands out. I just love how cute and small this is. It just how how many stems are coming up. And then you can see all these little baby stems coming up as well. So it's a fun one to grow. So anything unusual, boom, this Alocasia. And I especially like because it's called the Bambino. Not sure where Bambino comes from, but Bambino. This is Bambino. Alocasia Bambino. I'm going to sneak one more in here. This is a Pilea here. Take a look. I love this one just because of that, I want to say, the almost edible foliage. It's just a fun one. This one's called Moon Valley. Imagine walking on the moon on that guy. Isn't that just beautiful foliage? Just a great one to add to your houseplant collection, so you get all kinds of different foliages and different colors, and you really can get a collection. Can't wait to show you planting a container for your house plants next week. But anyway, Pilea Moon Valley, a fun one too, just grows nice and mounding. I also like to keep it tight too, just so that it stays this small and compact. Also a fun one you can bring outside in the summer months too. Enjoy that, as long as it's kind of in a shady area. Anyway, guys, that's my collection of houseplants to think about in the month of January. Hope you're staying nice and warm, and yet still getting a chance to get outside as well. If you're not getting outside, you're enjoying those wonderful houseplants inside, making you think of spring coming up. Guys, that's the show for the day. Always live your